back in the room. Today we're going to talk about all things AI, amongst other things, of course. There's been a lot of chat around AI this last while, mainly because it's been pumped out really quickly by Adobe and all the other game players. I think, quite honestly, behind all that are some very nefarious reasons for that. It's not as clear cut as what people might think it is. You only have to look at the way all of the companies, particularly Adobe, blasted out AI when it's clearly A, not ready, and B, people weren't really that interested. So it seems like there's a bit of a panic, or they pushed the panic button a bit too quick, I think. When they realised ChatGTP and other things were starting to get a bit prominent, they thought, oh my God, we better get a piece of that cake. Off they went. That's the official story, but I think there's, behind the scenes, I think it's all a bit nefarious and a little bit dangerous, shall we say. But from a photography standpoint, today I'm going to go through my reasoning for not using AI, and by not using AI, I mean at all. And I'm going to show some examples as to why I don't think even the most digital creative amongst us, those people that like to make great digital scapes, that have spent years harnessing their ways of doing it, their techniques, why they shouldn't throw that all away because they think AI is the future. I have a feeling in life that when somebody tells you this is the way it has to be, this is how it's going to be, you can't ignore it, it's going to happen, you must embrace it. My gut reaction, my natural reaction is to run as fast as I can in the opposite direction, because in my life experience, 9.9 times out of 10, when somebody says that, the reasons behind it are never good for you, for society, for humanity. So there's a big clamber currently for, let's get into AI, let's do AI, let's make sure we're using AI, you must embrace AI. And my kind of reaction to that is no. Tell me why first, explain to me why first, prove to me why first, then I might consider it. But right now, I am running as far away from it as possible. And I'm hoping through this little bit of chat, this little bit of show and tell, you'll see some of the reasons, particularly why photographers, I think, should stay clear of it. I mean, it's not very good for a start, particularly Adobe and some of the other big game players with their noise reduction and their sharpening AI. I've played around with a lot of it. Played around's the wrong phrase. I've utilised it a lot. And if I was into cartoons, I'd love it. But if I'm into real, actual photography, lens-based image photography, then I would scrap it. And that's what I've done. But I've learned enough to be able to show you guys my thoughts on it. And hopefully, you can take something from it. Like I always say, makes no odds to me whether you completely agree with me or not. I think it's probably good to have some dialogue where it agrees, because there'll be some things I've not considered. There'll be some people think it's brilliant, the best thing since sliced bread. But hopefully I can show you why I don't think that is. And some of you can believe that, some of you can't. So we'll get into it in a sec. Once I've got myself comfortable, I picked a couple of my pictures to go through just so you can see what I've done and what my thoughts on it so far. I've used it where I might traditionally cut out a background and replace it. I've used it to all sorts of kind of like automated functions, and there's a distinct difference for me between artificial intelligence and what you might call batch processing. Anything that automates and speeds up your workflow is good, in my opinion. Anything that can do equally as good as what you can do, if it's a repetitive task, to the same degree, to the same quality, then I'm all for it. But that's not what AI is. AI is it's the thing that's going to stop people from learning. And for me, that's key. Whether you're a photographer, whether you're a designer, whether you're a digital illustrator, the minute you stop learning and let a machine or whatever it is take over that learning from you, then you've stopped developing as an artist. You've stopped thinking as an artist. You've stopped using your natural given talent to be inquisitive and to be better, you've given it all away to a machine just because somebody's told you that's the future and you must embrace it. Well, I'm not going to do that, and I'm hoping that some of you might see the reasons behind that once we get into it. So here's a picture of our 4-week-old Labrador Retriever cross Paddy. You can see he's lovely. He's a great character, and he sat still long enough for me to get an in focus, relatively decently exposed picture of him this week. So looking at AI and Adobe's, say, new, recent rollout of AI, generative fill and all that other stuff, I thought we'll start with a simple picture. And you can see we've got Paddy here and he's sat on a bit of grass with a fence in the background. So I thought, let's give it a go, see how good it is at changing backgrounds, for example. So I'm just going to first click on select subject, tell it to select subject, and it'll take a little minute because I put my computer onto low power mode. Normally it would be a little quicker than that. We've now selected him. Now, first thing I notice is if you don't tell it to invert, it will put the effect onto what you've selected, not the background. So I'm going to click this little button here that says invert, and we've now inverted that selection. And then I'm just going to click onto generative fill. And of course it wants me to connect the internet, doesn't it? Because I'm not connected to the internet. So we'll do that. Bloody hell. Thank God for mobile hotspot. So again, a quick reminder that the stock imagery clearly is connected to the internet, and without it you can't even use that feature. So that's great from Adobe, isn't it? We're going to go on generative fill. What should we change it to? We'll put beach. We'll just see how good this is. It's generating a preview for us so we can see what it's like putting Paddy on the beach. Now when you watch Adobe adverts for this, you see them flashing around the internet on Facebook and all that, you'll see it's brilliant. You've got a person there or whatever, they bang, cut it out, bang, backgrounds on. Wow, it all looks amazing. So let's see what the reality of that is. Let's zoom out a bit so we can see that. So there's Paddy on a beach now, suddenly. Now, the unvisually educated amongst us, and those who don't do this kind of stuff a lot, might look at them and go, oh, actually, wow, there's only a bit of grass left, but yeah, he's on the beach. And he was on the garden before. And one of my concerns with this process is that people will become used to poorer quality and accept poorer quality because it's quick. And I think particularly for those people who have spent a lot of time learning techniques to make digital art very good, will probably have their work kind of stolen, erased, belittled, because people become so locked in to this quick, fast, easy way of doing it. And when we look at this closely, you can see, if you look around Paddy's head and his ears, the cutout's not very good. There's loads of grass missed there. There's a load of stuff missed there. What's going on here, I don't know. Let's turn the layers on and off. Look, you can see that's a pretty poor cutout here, 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 here. So that's just one example of a beach. And if you look around other parts, you can see it's a pretty poor cutout, isn't it? But my fear is people will think that's great. At a glance, people will go, that's amazing, look at that. When in reality, when you're getting close up, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, masking, to bring back quality detail. And also, I guess it's not a great beach. Maybe I could have put in there sunny beach. Let's try another option. I think that one's just as bad. And if you look around his ear on this one, it's even worse. So that's the kind of quick, doing it like the show in the advert. Bang, 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 all done. Great picture. Absolutely not. Let's try a different prompt. Let's try street. Let's drop Paddy Boy on a street, see what happens. And and I'll probably speed this up in the edit. Let's see what options we get off the street. And, well, they've kind of put him on a curb, maybe, for that one. But again, if you look at the cutout, it's not even cut that bit out there. It's kind of left a few bits in there of grass. It's kind of cheated a bit. So I guess it's analysed the scene and thought, oh, we'll just leave as much grass in as we can. It's cut around his paw again a little bit. But he's put something in there. Whatever that is, I don't know. But that's pretty terrible. But again, the untrained eye at a glance, wow, isn't that amazing? People may think that's brilliant. In reality, to the trained eye, it's not. Let's try one more. Let's try putting him on a garden. Let's see what happens when we put him where he already is. Let's see what happens to that. Pretty poor actually, that, isn't it? Even the more I look at it, the worse it gets. And what we got this time? Oh, we've got some actual flowers and stuff this time. It's probably the best one so far. But when we look at it again, it's not that good, is it? It's never cutting that part out behind his ear, so it clearly thinks that's part of him. Even though it's a completely different colour. Yeah, we've lost quite a bit of his tail on that. If you look at it, his tail becomes too thin. And that's before we zoom in and have to go back in and trim up all the edge bits. So you can see it's taken quite a chunk off him, off his fur. So that's the first attempt at looking at Adobe AI generative fill. Doesn't happen on the advert, does it? But that's one version for you to consider. Let's take a look at what else we've got open here. Oh, cyclist in New York. So me and my wife Kirsty went to New York recently and I did a shit ton of street photography. That's 1,500 pictures or so. Which was great till I came to do the edit. But I did enjoy it actually, but it was a lot of pictures. And this is one I kind of like because it's a little quirky. But I thought there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of street, there's a lot of shadows, there's a lot of stuff going on. So let's see how good it is at selecting the subject at first. So let's just click select subject, see what happens. Just thinking about it. Again, I'll speed these up, most probably. And so it's selected the bike, not the shadow, and the lady in the background. So how much use is that to me, really? This is supposed to be quick and intuitive, and AI is brilliant, remember. So as a selection, it's no good to me. But anyway, we'll work with it and we'll just invert it again. So when we have the effect, it doesn't put it onto the cyclist. So we put in a field. Let's put the cyclist in a field and see what we get. Pretty straightforward prompt. And what we're going to get this time. I was expecting a green field. I don't know why. But what we got is a ploughed field looking at it. So again, let's ignore the lady in the background that it kind of copied. Let's think about it from a inexperienced eye's perspective. Oh my God, that's brilliant. All I've got to do is erase that lady and he's in the field. But if we look close up at the cutout, that is pretty poor, isn't it? In fact, it's horrendously poor. So it makes me wonder how much work you've got to do either post cutout or pre-cut out to get to a point where it's a cutout that's usable. Let's have a look around the box here. What's that like? I mean, that's just terrible, isn't it? The whole thing's terrible. So in a field didn't work. Should we try in a green field? In a green field with poppies. Hope it doesn't think I mean poppy field. Where's the field? Right. So there's the first option. I'm pretty sure this doesn't happen on the advert. What that is, I don't know. It's funny. I mean, I'd like to think that even somebody with an untrained eye wouldn't wouldn't accept this as being good enough, but I've seen some worse, if I'm honest, that people have used. So I think it's safe to say if you're starting from a position of lots of information, lots of shadows, lots of detail, the generative AI stroke cutout stroke select background, all that kind of stuff without any further manipulation doesn't do what it says so on the adverts. Maybe we'll try the next picture. Next picture, standard model shot in a studio. And I thought normally what you see with these shots is they're cut out and they're put onto, I don't know, city streets or dance halls, things like that. I'm going to tell it to remove background this time, see what happens, because that should be for an AI a pretty easy cutout, grey background, easily detectable edges. So it cut out the background, which is great, it's pretty fast. But then if we look at it, it's not really at all, is it? Look at the detail, 100%. That's actually pretty horrendous. But I guess to the untrained eye, have we seen worse? I'm going to undo that because I don't want that at all. Alright, so let's select subject this time. Let's try it that way. See how good it is at this. Come on, select the subject. Already it looks a bit similar, doesn't it? It looks like it's gone for a similar kind of approach. Let's invert it. Let's try a fill. Where should we put her? Should we put her on a city street? Busy city street. Generate. Let's have a look. Let's fit screen. Well, what do we think, folks? Would you be happy with that? Client says, yeah, I love that photograph. Pop her on a city street for me. Use generative AI. We're good to go. You got a few options. Wow, there we go. That's amazing, isn't it? Should we go with that one? Yeah, even though the light's a million miles off, the shadow's a million miles off, the cutout is horrendous. You can see, if you're looking close, what's happened to her feet? What's going on here? I mean, that's pretty poor. It's double the size of the shoe, changed their heel, not cut out the laces. Made an absolute mess of that. But this is, if we follow the Adobe advert, this is the generative fill they want you to buy into and use as the future. And some people might come back and say, yeah, but you've not done anything, you've only hit the few buttons and you've not done any trimming, you've not tied anything up. Well, that's not what the advert says. The advert says, hit this button, hit that button, look what you can do. And that's not what happens. And my bigger concern is that that's what people are going to buy into. And creatives, I'm one of them, are notoriously lazy. We want the easiest way from A to B. Because this is hard work. Photography, art, retouching, digitizing, all that stuff's difficult, hard work and time consuming. So we do want a shortcut when we can get one. But a shortcut that takes away the quality and also takes away, more importantly, your learning, in my opinion, should be, you should run away from it as quick as you can. It should be the last thing you get involved with. And unfortunately, already people are getting involved with it because I've seen so many horrendous pictures. I follow some amazing people on Instagram who are now what you might call creators who use AI exclusively, not just for retouching like this, but for generating from scratch. And people are buying into it. People are loving it. The clicks are massive. They're probably even making money off it. But the quality of the work is so clearly AI. So clearly AI. I wonder what it is they think they're really doing. Maybe they just found a way to make a quick buck. Great, more power to them. But as a creator, as a photographer, as an illustrator, as a digital creative, what did you learn today? What did it take from your soul, from your brain, from your thinking, from your technique to create that? Not very much at all, did it? And I worry for the future of the creative arts if all artists of all types are going to get plumbed into this AI way of thinking. Waking up in the morning, hitting generative fill, churning out drivel because everybody loves it. Everybody's saying it's great. Clients who, let's face it, in the main, even the high-end clients are quite visually illiterate most of the time, loving it because their clients are loving it because people who consume this don't know any better. Eventually, before very long, and it's happening now because I talk to people, it's happening now, creatives will be overlooked and they won't need it. And I think it's down to us to kind of fight back for our industry a little bit and not follow the narrative of you've got to get involved with it because it's not going away. That's just bullshit. That's a cop-out. That's just a way of saying, oh, you can't fight it, can you? So let's not. No, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it all the way. Now, that's not to say I might not use some of the bits which are saving time, learning me something at the same time. But I'm certainly not going to be doing what I've just showed you here and hitting buttons and wagging sliders around just because somebody's saying to me it's the future. You can't avoid it. You must get into it. If you don't, you'll be a dinosaur, blah, blah, blah. For me, it's important, whether you're a footballer, whether you're a van driver, whether you're a baker, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a, I don't know, farmer, that you know what you're doing and you know why you're doing it. And you can do it and repeat it. You can do it because you're very good at it. You've studied it, you've learned it, and you might have found the odd shortcut on the way. Nothing wrong with shortcuts. Like I said before, batch processing, you've got 100 pictures that all need to be exactly the same. Do a batch process. The computer's only doing what you've already told it to do. It's not thinking for you. It's not taking away your learning. It's just saving you time and repeated effort. AI doesn't do that. It's taking your thinking away from you. It's saying, give me a prompt, greenfield. It's going, right, what has everything that's been fed into me for the last billion years, what do I think a greenfield is? How do I think it should be represented? Then it churns one out like it's just done for us. And you go, oh, that one. Where was your thought process there? Let's say you've got 3 examples. You're choosing the best one. If you're doing that from scratch, if you were going out and looking at source images, if you're going on iStock or something like that and looking at source images, or even going out into a field and taking your own pictures to replace backgrounds, you've got much more control, much more thought process, much more learning. And the end product, trust me, will be 1,000,000 times better than this AI generative bullshit, which we're being told we've got to embrace, because if we don't, we'll be left behind. I think, particularly photographers I'm talking to here, should take a step back and think, hang on a minute. Do I really have to get involved with this? Can I survive without getting involved with this? And I think those who are brave and don't get really highly involved with it, before too long, will start to be successful, keep being successful, because it's like everything in life, the cream always rises to the top. And I've seen some people who have been called brilliant AI artists. Now, maybe the people who are looking at it love that kind of stuff. But for me, as a trained photographer, as a trained critic of art and creativity, when I'm looking at something, I want to see the person in it. I want to see that it was made, and you can see that development and that learning, that passion and that skill. All I see in all the AI stuff I see is the same drivel. Time after time after time after time. No distinct features, no distinct style, no distinct quality. All the same. Over-processed, over-egged, left to something else's devices. Generic rubbish. And of course, if you think that it's great and it's the future, you go off and do that. I ain't going to stop you from doing that. I think it's great that people can do what they want to do, be the creative they want to be, use the techniques they want to use. But for me personally, and for anybody I teach, I will teach that AI is not the future. It doesn't have to be the future. What is the future is you, your learning, your passion, your commitment, and your style and quality. So as I was saying before the tape cut out, that's brilliant, isn't it? The tape cut out. I'm not really interested in what people think. I'm interested in what I think, what my students think, and what I enjoy from art. And what I enjoy is seeing what the person did, what they learned, what they put into it, how they develop over years. And I'll continue to fight against the AI. We must use it. And I mean that in every way. I mean, not just from a visual perspective. So many people now using it to write essays and write stories and all this other stuff. And it's only prompting it. You're doing it. You're edit. No, there's none of that. Why do you need to do that? We've, some of the greatest literature at all came out of Britain. Some of the greatest visuals artists came out of Britain. And if all we're going to do is reduce all that learning to typing a prompt in to let an algorithm decide the best bits and then we decide ourselves, that's not thinking, that's not learning, that's not creating, that's, for want of a better phrase, it's cheating. If you're going to use it to edit something, why? Edit it yourself. Because if you're letting a machine do that work for you, what are you learning about your process? You're not learning anything. All you're doing is sitting back and drinking tea while a piece of software makes decisions for you. Stop doing that. It doesn't have to be like that. Just because people on TV and on the internet say it's the future, we've got to embrace it, doesn't mean you have to. You have a choice. And my choice is to sit back and continue to learn and continue to embrace things that maybe speed up my workflow, maybe help me catalogue things more quickly. But when it comes down to the physical, digital edit, choices, quality, leave that to the creatives and the cream will rise to the top. It always does. It always has. So they're my thoughts on AI, particularly in the visual creative industries. I've come across it as well with the music, and how quickly you can make a song now that sounds like Oasis and all that other rubbish. Why are we doing that? Why would we want to get into that just because a bunch of tech nerds and other not very nice people are forcing this on people because it's the future, because you can't stop what was it the kids say? You can't stop progress. Well, I can, and I will. And it kind of frustrates me that people don't have the cojones to go, why? Why? Why do I need to have everything done for me? Have I become that detached from reality as a human that I can't even make those choices now? I have to kind of get into the groove of a machine doing it for me. And I don't want what little freedoms of thought and choice I've left taken off me by a machine, particularly when it comes to my creative work. I want to be involved at every stage, making every decision, so then if it's great, I get the praise, and if it's shit, I learn from it and I go again. I hope some of you, after listening to this, can just take a little step back and go, maybe Lance was right. Maybe we don't have to go down this road. AI, artificial ignorance. That's what I shall call it from now on. Anyway, thanks for listening. I hope some of that made sense to you. If not, I don't really care. I enjoyed talking about it anyway. And I'll catch you all on the next episode, which might be about the obfuscation of photography and the real history of photography, which I think dates back to at least the early Renaissance and quite possibly thousands of years. All right, catch you soon.